next two games, you're going to face two of the biggest centers in the country, probably. I'm guessing Phillip will be on them, and how do you expect that to go?
I think, with those guys, you're going to need help, no matter who plays them. So you rotate some guys and you give them some help.
Can you use your quickness and stuff in those matchups to where they can help you?
Yeah, I think you can to a degree. You don't necessarily want to make dramatic changes, but you have a lineup that's a little bit smaller. You're giving up size, and you have to deal with that on the defensive end. Well, maybe you can stretch the floor a little bit more, go off the dribble a little bit more, and ultimately maybe make some threes, drive the ball, maybe draw some fouls, that kind of thing.
What, in a nutshell, what are you up against here Friday night?
Well, I think Purdue, was probably as deep a team as I've seen, and I mean over a long period of time, not just this year. They've had 9 different guys start. They have a quality player at every position and a quality backup at every position. All of them can score. They have multiple three-point shooters. They have a lot of size. They have experience. And so, they'll be number one, essentially, with Duke losing. So I thought they were number one already, personally. But, it's a great challenge for our team. And it's going to be a great environment. It's one of the places, if you've been watching, they've been really full. Their fans are excited about that team, and they well should be.
What does it do for your team this early in the season to play a team like Purdue and kind of see where you stack up?
Well, I think it's what you come to expect in this league. There's going to be somebody every year, or sometimes multiple teams that are top 5 teams, teams that I think view themselves, and others as well, as national championship contenders. So, it's not always the first game out of the conference schedule, but this year it is. And it's not always going to be on the road. So it's a great challenge for our team. See how we perform under pressure in that environment against a team that is incredibly talented, but the thing that I think is impressive, they execute really well. They're not a mistake team. And they stay the course and they defend. They've always, Matt's teams have always defended with, tremendous intensity. So they're going to challenge your defense, and then they're going to challenge, your offense as well.
For those who haven't seen Ivy or have only seen him a time or two, how would you describe him and what separates him maybe from the?
Well, he really, I thought, as the season went on last year, as a really young player, I thought he really came on. Hit the game winner, and from that point forward, he was clearly an elite player, not only in our league but in the country. Had a great summer. Was on the gold medal team, and I think came into this year with a tremendous amount of confidence. He's got blinding speed, but he also just kind of makes plays. He finds people. He hits threes. He's always coming at you. He's a really effective attack guy and puts pressure on your defense, especially in transition.
Going back to the Virginia game where the rebounding margin was a lot closer, when you went back and watched it on film, how would you assess how y'all played in the paint with physicality and aggressiveness?
I thought we did really well. We had that one stretch where they got, 3 times they got second shots. You're on the road. It's a tight game. You get them to miss. You want to give them one if you can, and they got 3 putbacks, and that's something I think every coach tries to guard against every team. So I thought for the most part we were pretty good, but need to be better and need to be better on Friday.
How can a road win like you had against Virginia maybe help you on Friday night handling that environment?
Well, I thought our guys handled the environment really well the other night. It was really intense in there. A lot of those guys never played in front of anybody on the road. So I think that was good. They were able to essentially carry out the game plan without getting rattled. They made a run, but I thought we executed pretty well. We had some defensive breakdowns. We did, but I thought we were fighting and battling. We had a bunch of guys step up.
Just up I know you said Keegan's was fine after the game, but is he still expected to play?
I would expect him to play. Yeah.
And then I think Keegan said over the offseason put on about 15, 20 pounds. I mean, how much more equipped is he now to be able to go up against those bigger guys? I know he had success against E.J. Liddell, but without the obvious size difference.
I think, it's one thing to talk about him going up against E.J. Liddell. It's another thing, with Zach Edey or even Travion. It's two different things, and you prefer to keep him more at the forward position if we can. We will play him there some. I haven't noticed a huge difference. He's always been able to hold his ground. He's always been able to score inside and be equally effective on the perimeter. I think that's what makes him special. But when you're talking about two guys of that size, you do need a little bit of extra girth.
How is Edie different than what Lucas Haas was? I mean, I know he's a couple inches taller.
Yeah, I think he's a little more mobile. Isaac was pretty tough. I had a lot of respect for him, but I think Edie runs the floor and he moves his feet. He's constantly another guy that's constantly coming at you, and they run stuff for him, so you got to deal with them.
In your matchups with Purdue and your film study over the years, how have you seen Travion kind of grow into the role he has now?
I'll tell you what, I loved him when he was a freshman. I thought this guy is really, really good. So I think it's been more of a sort of a methodical improvement because he could always score, he could always rebound, he could always pass. He was a willing passer, always has been. He's a thicker guy, but is amazingly nimble on his feet and athletic. So I just think you're seeing a guy as he matures, just gets more and more confident and a little more effective at times. But he's one of the better players in our league, I thought, the minute he showed up on their campus.
His passing, Williams' passing. I saw one last night, and it's not the first time, but he's.
He does that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And again, it comes down to he's good at it. I think he really likes to do it. And I think, when you have a guy like that, it's good for the other guys because they cut and they spot up and they know if they're open, he's going to find them. So they're working hard to get open all the time.
Going back to the Virginia game, what you said a few minutes ago about how it was a tough game, tough environment, to have someone like Jordan who's been there, hit those shots and kind of pace the team, are moments like that kind of maybe represent the biggest aspect of what he's bringing back?
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously great at the start of the game, but I just thought he showed tremendous maturity throughout. A couple of big plays coming down the stretch. He just has the ability to settle everybody down, and I think everybody plays better around him when he's out there.
What do you expect Purdue to do to him? I know you've seen him before.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do anything more than what everybody else has been doing, Pat. I mean, they just, they stay close to him. They might switch out on him and be a little more physical with him off the ball or whatever. Make him work.
It was interesting to me about talking to Jordan about Joe T at the end of last game. As Jordan said, Joe did a great job of knowing when to slow the team down to really sort of calm them down. But we always applaud Joe for his speed. I mean, is that one of the biggest areas you've seen him grow?
Yeah, you got to know the difference. when to go, when not to go. I mean, we obviously want to go as much as we can and encourage him to do that. But it's not always the smartest thing. You know, sometimes you got to pull it back, time and score. Maybe it's just a short run of, you know, we went 2 or 3 possessions without scoring. We want to keep them on defense a little because we're quick shooting the ball. Penetration is something he's really good at. You want him to keep attacking the defense, drawing 2, but sometimes, you know, you don't want those guys driving into packs of people and spitting it up because they're layups at the other end. So those decisions have to be made quickly, and you got to make a lot of them. And he's clearly, you know, in a good place with that right now.
You're the 2 highest scoring teams in America, but is there a difference between how you want to play, what kind of tempo you want to establish?
You know, probably a little bit different. You know, with the weapons that they have, especially inside. You know, they're going to run some sets, but I mean they'll put it up quickly. I mean they'll go. You look at the speed they have in the backcourt. You know, you're not going to limit. You know, Matt's not going to limit Jaden Ivey because he wants to run a set. He's going to get it and go. And you know, Isaiah's shooting the ball, and Stefanovic is shooting the ball. I mean, Newman is shooting the ball, so they're going to shoot threes as well. They're going to get it and go and push that tempo. You know, I haven't even talked about Hunter, who started for him for 2 years, coming off the bench. You know, have done a really good job, I think, of getting buy-in from guys that probably were expecting to be starters and are not, but playing a lot. So there's, you know, a lot to be said for that.
With the scheduling, with the Big Ten championship game the next day in Indianapolis, do you expect more Hawkeye fans than maybe normal?
I think that's a logical assumption. I'm just not sure there's going to be any tickets available. You know, I think they would probably buy them up. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
Fran, sounds like Jack had a good debut. So Jordan, what do you expect from this Purdue team on Friday? I mean, you've played them a lot of times in your career, but now this looks like it could be their best team on paper.
Yeah, I mean, they're essentially the same team that they had last year. So that just shows you how much they worked in the offseason to get to the point they're at right now. Playing really well. Some of the best basketball that I've seen Purdue play in a long time. Really well coached, really well disciplined. It's going to be a battle. Anytime you go to Mackey Arena, you're going to expect a war. So today we're starting our 2-day prep and get ready for these guys. And we got to play our best game of the year to be able to go in there and pull off an upset.
Do you feel like this game could set the tone for the rest of your season if you're able to come off that close win against Virginia and then back it up with a good performance on Friday?
Yeah, we know this stretch, as hard as it ever to say to look forward to games, the stretch of games that we're at right now is, you know, really one of the hardest stretches there are that any team has been playing in college basketball. So we knew if we could get out of this stretch with, you know, at least a winning record that we were sitting pretty good from, you know, where expectations were. So we started out really well against Virginia. Now to go to Mackey, it's going to be a different animal, whole different team, play a totally different way compared to Virginia. So that's what makes college basketball so special. You know, it's going game to game and having different tempos. So like I said to him, we're going to have to play our best game of the year to pull off the upset.
Jordan, what are some things you guys can do to kind of neutralize their, you know, the obvious size advantage? I mean, what can you guys do to sort of try to even the playing field, different things you can kind of do to slow them down?
Yeah, I mean, we got to do a phenomenal job defensively. They run their action very at their pace. You know, it's a lot essentially like Virginia almost, but it's more up tempo how they play. So we have to be locked in how we're helping on their big guys. You know, staying home on the shooters. You know, who we closing out, ready for the drive on. You know, it's going to be a big personnel game, and for us to kind of be undersized, matched up against them down low. You know, we got to have all 5 guys rebounding, all 5 guys helping. You know, our big guys down low to, you know, do what we can to come out of there with a win.
Obviously, against Virginia, Tucson was big down the stretch. Was this kind of a game where you saw a lot of growth from him, maybe from years past?
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that in the offseason. The game was starting to slow down for him, and a lot of people. It's you gotta be truly special to have the game slow down and make reads as an underclassman. And Joe T was starting to figure that out as a sophomore. I think this year now he's really having the game slow down, making reads that he wasn't making before a couple years ago. And that just comes with experience. Anyone has to garner some experience to excel at what they do. So the more he studied film, the more he had experience in games. He's essentially at the spot now because he's putting the work and time to get here. And he's our leader, he's our point guard, and he's starting to figure out that he needs to keep stepping up into that role for us to be really good.
Coach McCaffrey said that you're somebody who just knows how to calm people down. That ability, is this something that's always been there, or does it come over time?
It definitely came over time. I never was that much of a vocal guy off the court. I was always once I stepped on the floor, I was more of a vocal leader, I guess you could say. But ever since I was little, I never really spoke that much off the court. I was pretty reserved, and that's something when I came here as a freshman, I had to work on, because for me being that point guard position, you have to be always communicating with your teammates. You have to know what to say to who. You can't say one thing to someone on the team and say the same thing in the same way to the other guy on the team. It's about the diversity and how you communicate with each other to be a really great leader. And my experience I've had these last 5.5 years here, has helped me to continue to be a leader on the court. And when we were rushing our tempo up a little bit, it was my job against Virginia to get the ball and settle guys down and try to hit some big shots and continue to bring the guys together during dead balls, timeouts, and continue to keep everyone focused, because we knew we weren't going to win by 20, 25 against Virginia. That's just not possible how they play. And on the road with fans, crowded arena, they were going to make a run, and it was. It's really great to see how we got punched back in the face and we were able to get back up and, pull out the win there and get ready for this, tough Purdue team we play.
Jordan, how much can you guys really take away just from going from one hostile environment to another? Is there really much carryover effect? And if so, what can you really take from that and apply it to going to Mackey?
Yeah, it's definitely, you have to apply a lot game by game. These younger guys, there's essentially just me, Joe T, and Connor were the only three that I've ever played in a crowded arena. So for these younger guys to kind of get a feel for that, like Peyton and even AU and TP, those guys that played last year, they never played in front of fans. So for them to get that experience now, and they'll definitely carry over for this next game because they've finally got that under their belt. They know what it's like. And, Mackey's something you can't really compare to anyone in any arena in the world. It's one of the loudest places I've ever played in. So that Virginia game was very helpful for the younger guys.
Okay, thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jordan.
Questions for Philip?
Philip, I'm sure that when you agreed to come here, you knew what you were going to face in the Big Ten. Friday night and then again Monday, you're facing it. What do you think about it?
That's what I signed up for. I didn't expect Kofi to be back, but he is. But yeah, I signed up for this, so I got to deal with the consequences, so-called. But no, I go out there every night and I try to do my best to battle. I don't care how tall a person is or how much they weigh. I'm always going to give it my all. So hopefully that makes up for a lot of weight and height, I guess.
What's it going to take to fend off Edey and Williams?
I don't think it's just up to me. I think I can do. I need to try my best, but it's a team effort to stop those guys. Those are really talented players, one of the best players in the Big Ten. So I think it's going to be a team effort to stop them.
Can I assume you've never went up against someone 7'4"?
No, I have not. I'm not. I went up against some pretty good bigs, but no one that's 7'4". So this will be a new experience, but we'll see how my bag of tricks has to be very deep for that game.
What was the other night in Virginia? Do you feel one of your better games? It looked like you were pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I got the ball a few times in the post, and I felt very comfortable. Even though the guy was taller than me, he can jump a lot higher, but, that's not all that matters in basketball. So I just used my moves, and I got buckets in key moments. So, I'm just trying to keep doing that.
Philip, you talked about how you never played in, a huge arena, going back North Dakota. I mean, how much does playing at Virginia in that big of an arena and that big a crowd, is there really much carryover when you go to a place like Mackey Arena?
I mean, there definitely is. It's a whole new experience. I played in big arenas, but it was never like a rivalry or thing. I played in Rupp Arena against Kentucky, like 18,000 fans, and they're just quiet most of the game. They were just beating us by like 30 or whatnot. And then I remember there was a funny situation where I had 2 free throws, and the announcer says, like, if he misses both free throws, everyone gets Qdoba chips and queso in the house. Arena erupted. And I was like, they were quiet the whole game, and then that's the only moment that they went crazy. So I missed those free throws, yeah. So, it's crazy how much different it is when there's a rivalry and there's that many people there. It just makes for a great atmosphere.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Mr. Keegan.
Keegan, I assume you're full go for Friday.
Yeah, doing treatment right now. Just working at getting it better. It's gotten better since yesterday, so just working towards that and just trying to get better every day.
How do you neutralize Purdue's size? I mean, this is probably one of the biggest teams in the country. You guys don't have, this premier 7-footers. What are some different things you guys can do to try to neutralize it?
Yeah, no, we just have to be aggressive. We just have to work through our game plan, our scout, and do that to a T. Obviously, they're really tall up front, and there's ways that we can exploit that on offense, and also use our quickness on defense, and just be solid all around. I think we'll have a good chance there. So.
Do you get extra excited about playing the number 2 team in the nation on the road?
Can you repeat that again?
Do you get extra excited for playing the number 2 team in the nation on the road?
Yeah, obviously when you're a kid growing up, you want to be in those big moments on that big stage and playing in front of a sold-out crowd against the top team in the country is just an exclamation point to that into the season. So I just think for us, we're a group that's really hungry to go in there and prove ourselves and just continue to work every day these next 2 days in practice, and we're just excited to get down there.
How big was that close victory in Virginia preparing for this game? Obviously another hostile environment.
Yeah, no, they're a tough team. We got up a lot in the first half. And they came back in the second half, and the crowd got into it in the second half. And it was just us keeping our composure, I feel like, really helped us. Having Jordan, our senior leader, and Connor as well, just lead us in that moment, really helped us in that game. So they're big for us, and that was a big stepping point for our team.
How important was it to get that experience in that hostile crowd, just carry over? I mean, again, that was your first really true road college environment. How big is that carryover?
Yeah, no, for a lot of our guys, if you think about only Joe T, Connor, and Jabo have been in that situation before. So, I mean, having that game at Virginia, I feel like really helped a lot of our guys that played, and just fighting the adversity that went on during that game will only help us throughout the season on the Big Ten play, because you're not going to play anywhere in the Big Ten that's not hostile. So that was just a huge point for us.
What are your impressions of Ivy?
He's a good player, a great player. He's athletic. Obviously, he's in the same class as I am. And we're both on the all Big Ten freshman team, but he's a good player. He's got a lot of guys around him, and he's a future NBA player. So I'm just excited to go for that matchup with him and our team. So.
Keegan, looking back at the film against Virginia, I mean, what are 2 or 3 things you guys pinpoint about that second half that you just kind of said to yourself, okay, we really got to clean this up going into the next couple matchups?
I feel like it's just our aggressiveness on both sides of the ball. I feel like we got the lead early, and kind of our defensive energy kind of went down a little bit, and we were getting the stops we needed to get in the second half. Obviously, they shot the ball pretty well because they're getting open looks, but that's just things we got to clean up. They run good stuff on offense. In the second half, they were able to hit shots and stuff like that. So just going back on the film, looking at that, see what we need to do better, and just get ready for Friday.
Within that Virginia game, I mean, that was a team that had some tall players, some big players. Y'all were able to go in there and battle with them. What experience do you kind of draw from that, playing against that team versus maybe other teams that are maybe closer to y'all in size?
Yeah, no, for Virginia, played 2 7-footers on Monday night. They're really good defensive team, so I just think having that experience, obviously we're a lot shorter than a lot of teams in our conference. So just going against those guys early on in the year, I feel like is just going to help us. Obviously, we battled with them all night long. Didn't try not to give them easy buckets in the paint. I just think going against 7-footers when we're undersized early on in the year is going to help us playing against the bigs in the Big Ten.
In that game, for all that's been said about maybe how inexperienced the youngest team was to kind of counter-punch, punch back, have a last stand in the last second, I mean, what does that say about this team?
It just shows our resilience as a team. Obviously, we haven't fought as much adversity as a lot of teams have early on this season. And going into that environment, just be able to punch them back, and get on runs, have them go on runs, and just be able to withstand that and keep the lead and win the game at the end. I just felt like shows our resilience as a basketball team. So,
A lot of NBA scouts are starting to say that you're going to be a lock for the first round. How does that make you feel getting that kind of recognition this early in the season?
yeah, I'm not really worried about that right now. Really, I'm just focused on winning games as a team. I'm just doing what I can control right now as a basketball player, and that's just do what's best for my team. And that's win games. If I need to put the ball in the basket, put the ball in the basket. But all the outside noise right now, I'm really just not worried about that. I'm just really locked in on this season and doing what I can do in these next couple months.
And how was your relationship with guys like Wieskamp and Garza prepared you to be the number 1 guy in this team?
Yeah, no, I've talked to them a lot during the offseason. Joe has been a huge guy that I've talked to because his second season didn't really start out how he wanted it to. He just kind of been a huge stepping stone, and me just getting confidence in my development. And obviously he's doing his thing right now as a professional basketball player. So just talking to him as just a friend, as a guy that I can look up to has been huge for me. And Luka as well. I've been talking back and forth with him a little bit too. And just seeing his success in the NBA right now, and just what he has given me as a perspective of being the number 1 guy, the top player in the country, has really just opened my eyes a little bit and just instilled more confidence in me.
Okay, thanks, Kate.